Hey yo.
Yo, I need this after a day like today, bro.
Hey
Salute. I know. Yo, welcome back to another episode.
yo.
G out of character. We're doing our second episode. We're doing a little pre-fight for the UFC, a little review of the fight from this previous Saturday, and then y'all know about the storm. My car is still snowed in, but I don't want to talk about that. I talked about that the last episode. Homie been working his ass off. I need this little shot. Hold on.
You sound like the snow got to you, my brother.
Yo. Oh man, yo, before we get it got to me, man. Like fuck. Dude, like you gotta see the mountain of snow. Like I'm really calling people now. I'm about to scope out some prices to see who wanna come and dig this shit out.
Well, you should have did that beforehand, son. Like,
But it was gonna happen regardless because when the snowplow comes, that's where they stack it
yes,
up anyway. So
yes,
like
I
it was always gonna, and it's right behind my car because there's and it's in the alleyway. You know how it is. So there was no way around it, man. So I was like, fuck it, I'll deal with
yo,
it.
yo,
You know what I mean? You gotta take the bad with all the good and whatever. We'll be good. We'll be good for now. Knicks won a couple of games. It was a great
listen,
card.
son.
You know,
I don't mean to. Man, the internet been internet, and it been saying that if you from New York and the snow stopped you in any way, shape, or form, one, you're not a real New Yorker, and two, if you a dude and the snow stopped you in any way, shape, or form, you ain't a real man. There's no way some snow should have got your shit where to the point where you like. But I get your point because I
snow
that happened
snow
to
has
me.
definitely got it. Snow has obviously, yeah. You could get yourself out
No, I
of
get your point about the plows. The
yeah,
plows,
but you,
the
you still
plows
got to
plowed
do
me in.
you still got to do whatever you got to do at the end of the day. Yeah, it didn't stop me do nothing. I'm still taking my daughter to school in the morning. Still, you know what I mean, walking to
Just
the
you just
store.
you just you
I
just
got
got no car right now.
I just
You
ain't
feel
got a.
naked.
I just ain't got my whip right now. I'm gonna have one Friday, but you know what? I would have it dug out. I don't want to make y'all seem like 'cause I'm New York as fuck, but I've been
Yeah,
really
son,
super
you making
busy
it
at work.
seem
I've been
like
doing the
you know how your
podcast.
fans are looking at this right now, right? They're like,
I don't.
"How your car stuck?
I'm
How your
pretty
car
sure a
stuck?"
lot of niggas cars fucking stuck too. There's a Honda Accord right now, and on Astoria Boulevard, the snow is to the roof,
There's
bro. And
five of
from
them.
the
There's
bro,
five of
it,
them.
this dude he's probably stuck till the end of February. You know what I mean? That nigga's waiting for spring to come around before he get his shit out, bro. Like,
What do you think about those people in Russia? When you think they're getting out?
oh, yo, that's wild though. That's wild. That's wild. But man, I digress. It is what it is. Life goes on. New York is New York, and as always, every 10 years. So I'll be better prepared in 2036.
Yo, you know who I
Um,
feel bad for? I know we're gonna talk this MMA stuff, UFC 324, but you know who I really feel bad for? Those states that aren't used to it, like Texas and fucking Florida. And when they get this crazy weather and they don't know what to do, they don't know what they winter jacket. Winter jacket. I gotta get a what?
word up.
I gotta get a generator. What? The insulation in
Yep.
my house has to be
Right.
repaired.
Yep.
I never had to worry about insulation in my house before.
I gotta get a what?
When they
Like,
get snow, well, what? They all got cars with street tires on them. What? Imagine getting
like
a foot of snow and you
yo, I
can't
can't.
drive nowhere.
Yo, I can't wear shorts. Like, yo,
You can't wear shorts.
what's a shovel?
Yo, yo. That's why. So whenever I think about the weather we got, whenever you want to think about the weather we got in New York, just remember one thing: they got it worse in Florida and Texas. Whenever they get it.
Word up. Facts.
Yo, let's get into you this
Yo,
UFC
but
324, bro.
welcome everybody back. You already know what it is. It's Drunk Sports Talk, Drunk Sports Combat as well. You know what I mean? Like we starting something new. We got the boxer channel. We got the sports with me and Cash. Shout out to Cash. And then we got damn near bare knuckle shit over here. It ain't bare knuckle, but it's brutal ass UFC MMA with myself and
I
Giada
like I like I
character,
like
of
that.
course.
I like
Um,
that.
but
I
word
like
up.
that's how you look at it. I like that, like, much respect to you coming into like a new sport, so to speak, and then like learning the analytics of it and learning the in and outs and noticing that because you'll say something like that, like this sport where it's like a blood sport and it's like kumate and but it gets rough when you get to bare knuckles. It gets rough when you get to slap fighting. It gets more brutal
Yep.
and rough when you get to like other leagues and other countries and you really see these dudes. Like, yo, mixed
Yeah.
martial arts is one hell of a way to get paid.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's dope and it was interesting. And I think it was a good way to show, like, don't get me wrong, like, it was a couple of, like, fights, but for the
You're
most
talking on
part,
324. You're talking on 324 right now, right?
yeah, of course. But for the most part, I think it was phenomenal. And we'll obviously talk about the main card. And I know you had to put me on to the prelims, and those first three fights were kind of crazy, man. I definitely want to hear your take, but yeah, they were just straight up knockouts. And like you said, like what you texted me earlier, like, yeah, if you just got into this and you watched those three fights, you probably leaving pretty happy. Like, if this was the prelims, look like, is it too good to be true? Like, are they just feeding me, and then I come back again, and the prelims is not gonna be as good as this, and the main card not even be a pinch or taste of what they just handed me? Due to this being the glimmering light and the grand opening of the Paramount debut, so to speak. But it definitely was good. There was definitely a couple of good fights, interesting fights, definitely worthy of somebody who likes that type of combat sports shit. You would definitely be
Combat
intrigued.
sports shit.
You know what I mean? And but what was your take? Like, obviously the first two was Ty Miller, I believe, and then Ty Miller and Adam Fugit and Josh Hokett and Denzel Freeman. So how do you think? Which is crazy. Those two fights both ended at the same exact time. First
I didn't
round,
even notice
minute,
that. Oh, first round? Yeah.
first round, minute 4:59.
Really? I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, bro. They stopped the fight literally 1 minute before the round was over on both of those fights. But give me your feedback. Let me know how you think they did, and what you got. Like, what would you take away for some of these fighters?
Well, I'll tell you one thing. They didn't sell our first episode. I expressed how I think they dropped the ball. They dropped the ball when it came to marketing. But if you just set the prime example for how they just captured a new market. Because let's just say average person that has Paramount, and even if they didn't, it's $8.99. The price is fairly cheap right now, so you figure for the 8.99, or if it just stumbled across your page, and yes, you opened up to the early prelims, and it just started. Even young children, like, of the age 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, they like UFC as well. So I'm sure there was some kids that told their dad, told their uncle, or told their brother, yo, come watch this. It's on Paramount. And to see it as a new fan, like you just saw it, let's just say, or to see it on a new station, there's a lot of fight nights, there's a lot of pay-per-views that you get a snooze fest. Like you said it before, boxing sometimes you don't catch the early prelims because it's a little bit of a snooze fest. You here for the main top five fights at the end. You here for the PPV. Now that element has been taken away, UFC's job now, because they don't have to chase numbers as much, because it was a numbers game with the pay-per-view. Now it's not a numbers game. Now you've created something that sells itself, like a soda. It sells itself. You put it on the shelf, it just goes. So now all UFC has to do is put great fights together. And what they did with the first three, at least, and what they attempted to do with this card, because if you looked at this card on paper, this card, it didn't maybe jump out at you, but it would have done enough for a pay-per-view to be like, this is interesting, especially the main event, right? So the first three
Yeah.
fights, awesome. You get knockouts. You're like, what the F? Where are we? What are we doing? Josh, who could? He made a crazy fucking speech at the end. He said Brittany
Yeah.
Griner's a man. He went, yo, he went off, bro. He's wow. At first he lost me, but towards the end of it, I was like, oh yeah, this boy killing. This boy right here,
Oh my god!
So
But
shout out to him with the with that epic because that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to come in, you know, if WWF, WWE, whatever Vince McMahon showed you anything, it's about the name. If you can make the name sell and make the fans want you, we can put you in higher places and better fights and better positions. And
right,
that's exactly the page that he took out. Chael Sonnen used to do it great. You know, you got a couple great people, Conor McGregor. You know what I mean? You got a couple great
yeah,
people that talk smack on that mic
yeah,
when they get their chance. And that's all also with fighting capabilities. Boost them to the next
yeah.
level. All right, let's go to
Yeah,
Alex
I'm not going
Perez.
front, but yeah, I gotta talk about that fight. But yeah, Ty Miller does have like a nice right hand. What was it? It was a left hand. I think he connected
What,
him
Ty
with,
Miller,
right?
the first fight of the night?
Yeah, that was the one he kept connecting him with that left hook,
Yo,
like
he's a
that left
boxer. He's
straight.
Golden Gloves. He's
Yeah,
Golden
yeah,
Gloves.
that straight left is good. It put homie on his ass a couple of times,
Yep,
but
yep.
but I know you wanted to go into this fight. I want to talk, but the Perez and Charles Johnson, bro. Um, yo,
That was a little like, yo. So
yo, yo.
I was with
Before we get into
Silencer.
the review of the fight, right? Please, 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 please.
Leave him
Yo,
alone. Leave him
yo,
alone. Leave him
my
alone.
guy, my guy.
Yeah, leave him alone. Leave him alone. You want
What
you want
the what the fuck
you want
was
me to
that?
get a picture? I could get a picture here.
Yo,
Hold on.
yo, bro, homie, look like me
Yo.
with hair right here. Yo, like if he ever, it looks like his
Oh,
hairline been
see,
running.
see,
Yo, it looked like
see,
his hairline been running from fights his whole life.
see. This is kind of foul, though. You know why?
Oh
This
man,
is
don't tell me he has like some type of deficiency or disease or
nah,
something.
nah, nah. It's not even that. Screen share. Hold on. I'm gonna
Uh,
share my screen. I'm gonna share my screen. Hold on. Charles Johnson. Hold on. Allow. Oh, this is dope. All right, boom. I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna share my screen. Hold on. You see you see my screen, right?
yeah.
Yo, you see he's bald. He's bald. And then right here, he decided to start growing the hair. Right
Oh
here. See
god.
this?
All
Right
right.
there, right
All
there,
right.
right there. Look, that's
I think
where yo,
I've
he
seen
could have
enough.
kept
I've
it
seen enough.
bald. He should
I've
have
seen
kept it
enough,
bald.
man. I've
Yo,
seen
you
enough,
foul.
man.
You a
I've
foul
seen
nigga.
enough. Get this out of my view. Get this out of my
Yo.
view, man. Get this out of my view, man. Um, but nah, yeah, like it was definitely kind of it was definitely
Yo,
kind
but
of crazy. It was
his
definitely
fight,
kind of crazy
he
to
had no
see,
chance
man. Like,
against Alex Perez neither. Alex Perez beat the
no, no,
crap
no.
out of him.
Yeah,
First round, 3 minutes 16 seconds. You know, I see it's fights like that that you question. You're like, what he? Why did he look so ill prepared in that fight? You know, but they have similar records, so you get it. Why on paper? Nikita Krylov, another one, third round knockout. This is where we still look. This is where we still got a new fan. You're still keeping the new fans. That's 4 knockouts in the first 4 fights. So if you're
yeah,
just tuning in, you don't want to change the channel. Some people were
yeah.
complaining about Paramount having commercials. I think, how do you expect Paramount to make their money back? You know what I'm saying?
By paying the extra money to avoid ads.
Well, it's seven. Yes, that's what they're gonna do next. They're gonna charge us extra money to avoid ads if we want. If you want to hear the corner and all that, because a lot of fans, like real fans, were complaining. One, usually with pay per views, there's no commercials. One. So I'll counter that by saying this wasn't a pay per view. It wasn't $85. It was $8.99. One. Two, you know, you think about where they go, where else. The only thing that we want to hear, like, is the corner. We want to hear the corner. We want to hear the guys talking to him. What you're gonna do next? What you're gonna do next? That's what we want to hear. And I think that Paramount, they exploited that, and they're gonna make that a pay model, like you just said. You want to hear the corner? You want to hear no commercials? You have to pay this amount for it, maybe. You know what I'm saying? Because that's something
now,
that a
now,
lot of people are complaining about. They were complaining
damn,
about commercials and not
there
hearing the
was
corner.
there was commercials. I'm
There
trying to
was
think
some
because
commercials. They weren't long at all, neither. They
I'm
weren't
trying
long
to think
commercials.
because I'm trying to think about because I definitely watched the entire main event, and I'm trying to think if I even remember seeing the corner like at
Yes, you
times.
remember seeing them, but we couldn't hear their audio. And we're used to
Well,
hearing their audios. That's why people
yeah,
were saying something about it. But you know
yeah,
what? Those people that complained as well, the first four
that's
fights
true.
were first round knockouts. You didn't even need the corners. Well, the
Well,
first three fights. The fourth one was the third round. So then we got to your
yeah,
boy that you were looking forward to see him, Atiba Gutierrez.
yeah, which I
He
wasn't
went
too
to the
impressed
third
by his.
round, son. What'd you
Yeah,
think about that?
I wasn't too impressed by his performance. I thought, like he did throw a lot of good punches, and he definitely won the match, but he didn't look like the type of guy who is who's built to fight like somebody there who has more heart and more willing to win. Like, you know what I mean? Because you
He
can beat
just
up a
looks good
punch.
against lower guys.
Exactly. Like he looks good against guys who look like they like to get beat up and lose and just take the pay.
Take
But
the check.
yeah, you know what I mean. Like, but there's people in this sport that they don't mind getting beat up. But a matter of fact, they thrive on it. And when they do get beat up, that's when the animalistic nature of them come out, and that's when you got to be worried. And I don't think he's gonna be able to handle somebody when they like when they're able to just adjust mid fight. Okay, yeah. So now we're just throwing punches because he was just really just throwing punches, and he hurt him a couple of times, but it
Yeah, but
wasn't
he didn't
nothing
look
that
the
was
same. He didn't look the same compared to when he's in the fish tank with smaller fish. When he's in the
exactly when
fish
he
tank
was.
with smaller fish, he looks like a big shark. This time, he didn't look
Yeah,
like a big shark.
and
He
and
looked
this
like
was and this was his
yeah. I'm
first
sorry.
test run. So no, it's all good. But this was his first test run, and now it's looking like now he's realizing okay, there's different levels to this game. No matter what you play, no matter what entertainment, no matter what entertainment you're in, it could be music, sports, fighting,
And if UFC's
athleticism,
smart,
Olympics.
if
You
UFC's
know,
smart, but I don't know if they're gonna follow this because again, the pay-per-view model is gone. So there's no more creating superstars by throwing them on these big pay-per-view cards and you're expecting to get the eyeballs because people paid money to see it. So boom, no, now people are gonna have to go run to see it because they want to see the name. They're gonna have to sell his record being 10-1, and they're gonna have to put him up against a really good contender in order for people to want to keep watching him. Because if they keep slow feeding him these little guys, eventually one of these little guys is gonna beat him and then
yeah.
you lose his spark. So you got to throw him in with somebody big while he has something and give him an opportunity to double up on what name he has, in my opinion, because
Mm-hmm.
that wasn't a good looking fight. You was knocking everybody out in the first round. And this one you came in and you just didn't look. Maybe the bright lights got to him. One thing I
Good.
forgot to mention at the beginning of the pod with you, uh, why we saw so many knockouts. Dana White put $25,000 knockout bonus in play. If you knocked out your opponent, you got 25K. That's why everybody was going so hard. Dana never
For the,
really does that.
for the prelims,
No, or the whole 325, 324 card.
even main card.
If you knock out your opponent, you get 25K bonus.
Oh.
That's not including the fight bonus, the best fight bonus, and that's not including like anything else. That's just for
Yeah, your
knocking out your
earnings and
opponent.
everything.
So the
Just for
first three
knocking out your
fights, I
opponent.
know Dana was in the corner like fuck, because
Man, he's so fucking rich. You think like what did he? His max money he spent was what, like fucking 200,000. Like you, was that like a Lambo for him? Like
yeah, that's
he
just
just
nothing.
he
That's
just
just not.
signed a
But he's a
deal worth
gambler.
8 point.
But he's the gambler, and I think part of gamblers they still hate to lose even in winning. Even in winning,
Well,
they still hate to lose. Some gamblers,
but
because
that's
he's still
also like
winning.
yeah.
Knockouts work for everybody,
Yeah.
but
But
but losing.
that's a gambler. That's a gambler trait. Because even when you're losing, you're winning. But like a competitive trait is you just hate to lose and you just get better. He's just what I mean? Like, yeah, he's just a different type of
He's a
person.
mastermind, bro.
I've been doing some history on Dana White, and eventually one of these days, me and you could break it down. We're gonna and let's have like even like some type of comparison, but we can speak to that in the future. But
Yo,
yeah,
Dana's a
I
he
wasn't too impressed about that fight though, man. Like not from everything I saw and watching all his other,
mhm.
watching his previous fights and what he was doing, and now, was it the bright lights, homie? Like this is the this is what your life's supposed. You're supposed to be. You preparing your whole life for this moment. In my opinion, like that's what people who get to this type of, when they get to this point,
Yeah,
I could
you're
say
ready.
like, yeah, you don't just say, this is not here's the boom with Kevin James and his school is about to lose the music, whatever shit. And you just wanted to jump back into the
You're
ring.
you're
Nah, man,
you're
you've
ready.
been doing this for a long time. You should be always ready and willing. You know what I mean? Like in my
You're already
opinion,
half naked in the ring too. Like you're already in front of 5, 10, 15,000 people. You already did the training. You already took the walk. Now you're in the ring. You know what? At
yeah,
that point, you just got to let it all go and leave it right there. You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah,
you can't be nervous. You're endangering yourself if you're not moving fluently and you're not and speaking of moving fluently, next fight, Davison Figueroa and Umar Nurmagomedov, another snooze fest.
yeah.
Everybody had high expectations for this. Davison Figueroa, to his credit, he has been a pretty entertaining fighter. He hasn't been in the UFC for that long, but he has been a pretty entertaining fighter. Now, I thought he fought scared. I thought he didn't want to get taken down by Umar. I think that Nurmagomedov name, 20-1. He knows that the guy's just gonna try to fucking wrestle him. But he didn't. He looked like he came
Right.
in with his hands scared. He was scared to
Yeah.
throw hands. And then when he did throw hands, it almost looked like he pulled those punches. Like, I'm sorry, I don't mean to say this. Davison Figueroa comes off like the type of ninja that bets and gambles on himself to like lose and shit. Like he looks like a thug. Yeah, yeah, yeah. He looks like a thug. Like he tells his cousin, like his cousin Juanito, like, yo, put 40,000 on me to lose. Nah, you sure? Yeah, trust me, I'm gonna make it look crazy. Like, he looks like the type. Like he look like he don't really care because there's some fights he takes real serious, and when he takes fights serious, he looks a lot better than what he did against Umar. Umar just and then
Yeah,
Umar,
but like
Umar's
but
problem is he's
that's
boring.
yeah,
He's boring. That
man.
was Khabib's problem. Khabib turned it up when he got highlight. Like Khabib turned it up because he would get mean. He eventually started getting mean in his career as he became to his 30. But like other than that, unless you like Hamzat, you're mean. When you're just a pure wrestler and you just want to wrestle and put your nuts on a guy's face, pause. The fans don't like that shit. The fans be sitting there and they don't want to see you fight their best fighters. Like people would have rather saw somebody that was gonna stand and bang with Davison Figueroa on this UFC 324 card than watch him fight Umar, who's gonna try to put hands on you and grapple you and make you sniff his nuts. Like that's what they say about wrestlers. They're like, yo, you fucking crotch sniffer, bro. That's what you like doing. You like moving around on top of my body and putting your weight on me. And don't get me
Yeah, I
wrong,
don't know, man.
it
I
wins
don't want to.
fights.
I don't want to.
It
I don't want
wins
to be a
fights.
part of none of that shit. Yeah, I wouldn't be able to do it, bro. Like,
It
but
wins
you know
fights.
what I mean.
It wins fights. Wrestling is
But
one of the
but
most
but
dominant.
there's something I wanted to touch upon, man. Like what you said about Numa Magomedov. Like
My fault.
you can't be the type of fighter that only fights, good when you prepare for it or just like we fight. Bro, like that's gotta be you every single time, day in and day out, man. Like you gotta consistently train for that, man. Like, you gotta consistently just come out the box looking like that, like you just want to knock somebody's head off. Like you can't just be like, this guy may be a worthy opponent. Let's make this interesting. Because,
Some
there's
people
gonna
don't.
be it's gonna be a
Some people
time
don't
sooner
walk
or
in there
later.
though. But some people listen. There's a lot of fighters that don't walk in there to take your head off. A lot of fighters they walk in there to win the fight. They walk in there. They walk in there to strategically beat you. Wrestlers do it. Like back in the day, a lot of there was fighters that used to do it. Like some fighters they don't. They're not all animals, bro. They're not all
No, no, no,
animals
no, no, no,
and
no, no,
and want to kill their opponent.
I
Like some
understand
fighters
that,
don't even look at it
obviously.
like that. Like Michael Venom Page, he's a karate. He comes from karate. He comes from point scoring. And karate and point scoring It's different technique. You don't really gotta bust your guy up. It's where you hit the guy perfect with the hits to get the point. So he's very
Yeah.
elusive. And the way his thing is, he ain't looking to throw power punches and take your head off. He
Yeah.
looking for the slip and move and then pop you. If you drop, you drop. But Michael Venom Page he's a bouncy fighter. He ain't looking at, and that's why I say some fighters, it all
Mm,
I get what you're saying.
no, 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 no.
But
And I
but
understand that.
Umar style is that though. It's boring.
But
He's just
I
looking to win
know
the fight. He ain't looking to
I
knock a head off.
I understand that, but you have to come prepared to come with that ferocity and be prepared to strategically win the fight. I'm not
I
saying
agree
you
with
have
you.
to come in there like all these guys. They don't have to. I don't look at MMA fighters and all these UFC guys as fucking animals that they go in there and just go rah rah rah. I'm gonna just kill you. Nah, man. I know they have their own techniques. I know they have their own strategies. They go in there with some type of game plan, and obviously, you have to execute that game plan.
I
He
think
just
that
looks
was
like a
Umar's.
fighter. He just looks like a boring game plan. He's like a Winky Wright to me in a boxing term. Like he's one of those guys. Like that's cool, but that's over there. I want to see somebody like actually display their talents, whether their
And you know
talents
what the
is
problem is?
punch, duck, and move, whether it's just takedowns or block kicks or do
You're
something
gonna
like
keep
that. Don't.
seeing him. You know why you're gonna keep seeing him? Because he's 20-1, and his last name is Nurmagomedov. He's connected to Khabib Nurmagomedov. He comes from their camp. The level of respect that the UFC gives that camp is to the point where, if I'm not mistaken, there was a couple dudes that had steroids in their camp not too long ago, and we don't hear nothing about it in the UFC world. Almost like it goes away, right? Like, yo, and that means that he's gonna do that boring ass technique on fighters that we want to see bang, stand and bang, and knock a head off. He's gonna do that. He's gonna
Yeah,
come, lay on top of you, try to choke you out, use your arm against you, and it's gonna work for him. You know why? Because with that style, given the right opponents, he's gonna get the championship.
yeah,
And then if he retires at 30 and 0, like Khabib did, you retire on top. You do 4 or 5 defenses. You get the pay-per-view points that nobody's really got. Oh, no pay-per-view points no more. Now everybody's getting flat rate. So look, you get the flat rate. You're not gonna knock nobody out with that type of style. Hopefully the UFC don't put you with another wrestler, because now it's 2 wrestlers. And if they do put you with another wrestler, it better they be an entertaining one, because now you're gonna have 2 boring people. That's the problem. No offense, and I don't mean to offend anybody, but a lot of a lot of people that come from third world countries, especially like Russia, they're not entertaining on the microphone, and it's not because they don't know the English language or the terminology. Not so much, in my opinion, of that. I think it's also because they're not about the play. They ain't come here to talk to people and be famous. I came here to win fights, get money, bring it back to my country, live a good rest of my life, be about my religion. I didn't come here to be rich and famous and be on the microphone and knock people out and get all their attention and Instagram this and that. I ain't come here for that. I came here from my country to have a better life, and this is how I do it. So I think they take the level of seriousness just different from what we think or some fighters deem necessary. Some people's whole career, bro, they're 50-50 fighters. And the only reason they get great fights is because they're entertaining as shit.
yeah. But and at the end of the day, and that's what it's gonna be. But like when you watch UFC, you don't want to consistently see that. So,
You don't want
but
to see good records. You don't give a fuck about good records. You want to see good fights.
I want to see good fights. Yo, fuck your record,
This
man.
ain't
Like, yo,
boxing. A dude don't
yeah,
gotta go 30, 40, 50 and 0 before he sees a championship fight or
yeah,
before he starts seeing real money. This ain't boxing. We don't give a
yeah,
fuck about UFC fighters' records. Nobody
yeah,
cares. We want to
yeah.
see fights.
Yeah, and on that note, I think we spent enough time talking about the prelims. Let's talk about the main card, which which was like the opposite in my opinion. It started off slow, and then it just got better throughout the night.
Silver's a
You
better
know,
shit talker than he is than what he's displayed though.
well,
That
yeah,
fighting,
the first fight was what
Arnold
Silva and
Allen,
Arnold Allen.
yeah,
Yeah,
I lackluster. It went to decision. One thing Dana White always says, don't leave it up to the judges. One thing Dana White always knows is any fights that go to decision on a main card, on a pay-per-view, is not a good look if it looked like that. Like,
Yeah, that was just. There was a couple of good, good
you're gonna get a
moments.
couple good strikes in, but
Yeah, but it
Arnold
wasn't
Allen,
nothing.
Arnold Allen's problem, in my opinion, he don't know how to be offensive. I don't know if he was fighting scared, just like Figueroa was, where he was just not being himself offensively. But Arnold Allen, he just sits there and waits to be defensive. And Silva, I guess, didn't pick up on that, or didn't pick up on that enough. And that's where you looked at the styles and you're like, who put this together? Who thought this was a good idea? And I think that's because they relied on Silva to bring the heat and the entertainment. All the shit he talked during the press conference, all the energy. He was crying. I don't know if you saw, but I saw something where he was holding a UFC championship belt recently and crying. Like, this is gonna be mine one day. This is gonna be mine one. Like, crying before he even had it. And I could get the passion. And I could get it, son. But when that looks better? That looks better when you knock your fucking opponent out in the first fucking round, especially when all he's doing is being defensive. You got to go
Yeah,
in for that fucking kill. You haven't fought in a long time. The last fight you had, you got knocked out. You got to come in here, UFC 324, come in for the kill. You don't do a
yeah,
5-round decision against Arnold Allen. Who are you going to
yeah.
ask for next? You
hmm
you 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 you
And
you,
he
you
almost
show.
and he almost lost the fight. Like, let's be honest. If
Yeah.
he has one more, if he has one significantly bad round, this either becomes a draw, or it's gonna be or it just, hey, this is flip a coin to see who wins at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it wasn't like a dominating win
Mm-mm.
in my opinion, but it was just definitely boring. But let's move
Even
on to the
even
next
Arnold
fight.
Allen put in his hand up, like when they were announcing the winner. Even your opponent to think he might have won
Yeah.
means you did not have a good fight. You know what I'm saying? Like, if your
Yep.
opponent's sitting there bloody nose and he's sitting there, he's going like this, you did not have a good fight
Nah,
against.
you did not.
Because
You
he
did
should be
not.
shaking his head, clapping his hand, about to thank you, say good fight. No, no,
Yeah.
no. He was like this, thinking he might have won it.
Yeah. Yo, it could go either way. Like, yeah.
Shout out to Arnold Allen, yo.
Oh man, and then no. Next fight we had Natalia Sylvia and
Rose
Rose
Namajunas.
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 Namajunas. Yeah,
Namajunas.
Namajunas. Namajunas.
Namajunas. Well, what the
Namajunas. That's how I
fuck?
said it.
Okay.
No, it's
Na-
Rose Namajunas. Yeah, like Nunez. Rose Namajunas.
all right, so then there needs to be an N instead of the J. I'm just saying, but
Yo,
whatever.
bro, I don't.
Uh,
Sandy the squirrel. That's what I call her. All right, like from SpongeBob. That's what I call her. All right. She looks like Sandy
Well,
the squirrel, bro.
Sandy lost. All right, so Sandy
Yo,
lost, but it was definitely a close fight though. It was a wild
again,
close fight.
again, look. This is just another example where it comes up. Look at her record. I'm looking at her record. She 15-8. Yo, a
Yeah,
50-50 fighter.
yeah,
There's nothing really that, I understand what she's done in the past, who she's knocked out in the past. I understand the names. But when we speak about Rose Namajunas, now there's nothing really going on. And she has a 50-50 record, but because of her name and what she's done, we'll throw her on a pay-per-view card, 324. I I, I shout out to Natalie Silva. It wasn't really too big of an entertaining fight for me. I just briefly. We don't have to go too deep. What do you think? What do you? I'm having a real sour taste in my mouth with women's UFC. Like, women's UFC has been really poor, and they're putting these fights on pay per view cards, and it's like a waste of space. You're taking up a spot that fans want to see something epic, and you
yeah,
and I know a fight got canceled with Kayla Harris and Amanda Nunes. I know that got canceled, and that would have been a great fight. But then it's like, where do you go from there? All we want to see is Kayla Harris. All you want to see is Amanda Nunes. All you want to see is Zhang Wei Li. How many times these women are gonna fight each other? You know what I'm saying? How many times these women are gonna keep fighting each other? It's like there's nothing
yeah.
doing in there. You know what I'm
Well,
saying? Like
yeah. I think
I
that's a topic for another day because like that's why you have the issue that you have in WNBA. That's the issue that you have, in female
and credit
boxing.
to the
You know
women.
what I
I'm
mean?
not
Like,
shitting on y'all. Salute to y'all. I would love to date a UFC chick and get into an argument with you, and then I try to get loud, and you just look at me and I'll shut up. You know what I mean? Like, imagine you dating a chick and she's doing mixed martial arts, and you get into your first argument together, and she's like, "Can you walk the dog for me?" And you're like, "Can you walk the dog? I gotta get ready." And she's like, and she looks at you. She don't say nothing, and you go walk the dog. Cause you know she gonna fuck you up if you don't walk that dog. You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, my first opinion on that is just like, damn, nigga, why you coming off so aggressive just to not walk the motherfucking dog? Nigga, like, damn, and just be more of a be more mas machismo, bro. Like, nah,
nah,
like,
son.
stop. Yo, and
I
whose
ain't gonna.
dog is it? I got a lot of questions. Who dog? If it ain't
Yeah,
my
see,
dog,
see,
I ain't walking
see,
that nigga. You know what I
see.
mean?
She
Like,
gonna
fuck that.
punch you in your mouth. She gonna
Well, then
punch
we
you. She
fucking,
go.
then
She,
we
she
I'm
go.
gonna stab
Yo,
you.
you
We
know what?
both gonna be hurt.
She ain't even gonna punch you in the mouth. She gonna choke you out. You gonna wake up on the couch a couple hours later, and then you're gonna say,
And
"What happened?" And she's gonna say, "Nothing."
and fuck it. Then
10 times that happens to you,
she
you losing brain cells, son.
should be the love of my life.
And you didn't even know it.
She's the love of my life.
Yo, son,
She done made my brain lose so many fucking brain
she
cells from
chokes
loss of
you out every
oxygen.
time y'all
I
argue.
forgot.
Every time you argue, she chokes you out.
She
You
like
wake up in
she like
another part of the house.
she like Spock and shit. She just be arguing. She just clinches my tricep. Be like, I just be like,
Yo, that's crazy. See, I would love to
oh
date
man,
a you. Yo, if there's a fighter chick out there, holla at me.
oh man.
You coming up in the ranks? I got you, girl.
Yo, but this next fight I thought was pretty good. The Cortez and Derek Lewis. Um,
Uh huh.
they were actually slugging. There was a couple of good kicks, a lot of good punches. I think I personally think the Costa could have finished it a little bit sooner than he did, but it is what it is, and we saw how he was fighting. Like he definitely owned the fight. Like like
Well,
he
that's
he
that's
he took it he took advantage of it, and he's looking like he's gonna be eventually moving up. Like, see, and that's what I mean. Like, it doesn't have to be boring, doesn't have to be a knockout. It wasn't dramatic. It was just he just shown right then and there his power was greater. His technique was better. He came in strategically to know what he wanted to do to defeat his opponent, and not go the distance. And, the better fighter won.
I think he did a lot of. I think he studied a lot of tape, and I think that's the problem with being 29-13 in the UFC, only being a heavyweight. Every single person in the UFC has seen your fighting style. Derek Lewis, unfortunately, he's like a moving target out there now in his weight class. He's become a moving target. He's become a gatekeeper. You know, if somebody coming up in the heavyweight is looking to cross over into bigger fights, once you get past a Derek Lewis, you're granted the key into a much bigger fight for top five probably, because there's not that many dudes in the heavyweight doing that. What you got? Zero gone. John Jones is like nowhere. Like you got
Yeah.
nobody really in the heavyweights really like moving anything like that. So Derek Lewis, unfortunately, I know they pay him big checks, and I know that's why he still goes in and does it. He's never been able to capitalize when he's had opportunity to go further in his fighting career. And salute to him for losing a lot of weight, because as he's gotten older, he looks a lot better. But I think it's time to. I don't want to see. I don't want this knockout. That it was bad for me. Like, it was bad for me because like he didn't want to get up. Derek Lewis is not a guy to lay on his back and do jujitsu with somebody. Like, he don't invite
Yeah.
nobody to the ground with him. When he was inviting the dude and laying there, and I saw that, I was like, "Oh no, this is the worst thing that could happen to you. You just gave up. You just literally showed your opponent you don't want to stand with him. You're willing to take him down here. That means you're willing for him to choke you out." That's what everybody that saw that fight, that knows fighting, knows that Derek Lewis just right there, that's when he told his opponent, "I'm not gonna fight no more." And that's what it looked like. That's why you couldn't tell if he slipped. Was it a punch? But you know how the fight ended because
Yeah.
Acosta, he's coming up and he has to make a big name for himself. He's 17-2. He's not gonna put it. Even if he saw that Derek Lewis doing the white flag, and even if he does respect them, and even he was not gonna get the foot off the gas because this is his time to come up and shine. This is his time, especially in such shallow waters, being the heavyweight division right now in the UFC. But shout out to Waldo Cortez Acosta. Salute.
Yeah. Yeah. Word.
So,
Word.
co-main event.
Yeah. And then we got this one kind of irked me, but it is what it was because I had high expectations, and I know me and you talked about this fight for some time last week. Against Sean O'Malley and
Go ahead, do it.
Mister Mister Pause.
Yeah, nah, come
So
on, do it, do it, do it. Drop it one time,
it's,
one time.
yo, song you dong. Um, oh Jesus, but you know, it
I
was
hope that guy never fights again.
and to be honest, Sean O'Malley, in my opinion, he didn't look that great neither. Like
Nope.
he
Rusty.
just he looked
Rusty.
horribly rusty. Like and
Scared. Not in
he
his
just
zone.
not prepared. But then you see all this footage prior him and but that's what it looks like to him. It looks like you can't play around with this. Like, and this is what I say, like to people who have to come in there with some type of strategy and go in there with that animalistic, even though you don't have to tear the dude's heads off. You got to go in with that mind frame. I'm gonna do everything I can and will, because then I'm gonna win. But I don't think he probably trained enough for this fight, knowing that he just, this fight was
Well,
supposed to
short
be
notice
done.
too.
Yeah, but it was from what I'm hearing, it was also supposed to happen in the end of December. So he had additional time to train. Did he utilize that time? And if he did he use it wisely? Because it still looked like he just came in half-assed it. You know what I mean? Like it didn't look like he was supposed to win in the type of fashion that he was gonna win. Now, is it because Song Yadong is just knows how to defend and knows how to is he one of those guys that are just able to not be taken
Well,
down is so easily. Like, hey,
song.
he's a good fighter. He's a good fighter, Song
All
Yadong.
right.
He's not like a great one, but he's not a what I mean, he's not a Gestapo, like, what I mean, like he's not a little chip. Like, yeah, let that guy, man. Everybody's gonna run through him, man. Like, what I mean, he's not a stepping stone, But Sean O'Malley is what a
Made
lot of
him.
people do praise, and he made it look like, wow, that guy looks like he really is better than what people say. You know
I
what I mean? And
think.
that
I think O'Malley. Not to cut you off. I think O'Malley had a lot of ring rust. I think he lost his last two fights. One dropping the belt. Second one was a rematch. Couldn't get the belt back. Now this being his third fight, if he losing to a name like Song Yadong, I think there's an area where O'Malley, when he was undefeated and he had an undefeated record, he had this flow state about him. He was in a flow state where it was like, is he gonna lose? His record's perfect, and he do the balling. He would knock people out and walk off. He was in this flow state, and I think I respect seeing a much more mature O'Malley in the ring.
yeah.
I respect seeing a mature O'Malley in the ring. Didn't do the showboating. Didn't do none of that like that. I respect that, but I don't think that being so reserved is gonna help him. He needs to get back to that balance just as a mature fighter where he could have that flow state without being so lackadaisical at the same time still being himself, the predator, because he's a sniper when you want to get into it. He beat wrestlers. He beat wrestlers by not letting them come close to him, by boop boop popping that jab, by
Yeah.
like he's become champion. He knows what it is to wear that belt. So when it comes down to it, the question is who the UFC is going to match him up with next. They unfortunately think he's not ready for anybody epic. I think give him another tune up, Song Yadong was supposed to be exactly what it was. Damn, a pause. You know what I mean? It was supposed he was
You know what's wild when when your name is a pause, bro? Like that shit is vicious, bro. Like I think his parents probably knew that. You know, man, be
Nah, they
like,
didn't know
yo,
what a dong was coming to. Like they probably, you don't even. They probably not even from here. They over there. They probably think a dong is what something you hit with the fucking stick and shit. Yeah. Like, my bad.
you know,
My bad.
yo, number one, that's a gong.
My bad.
All right,
My bad.
that's a
My bad.
gong.
I'm saying
You
they
just
probably call it a dong over there. Dong. It makes
this
that
nigga
dong
just
noise.
this nigga said his parents thought they named him after a sound. Cause it's a gong, not a dong is
But what noise does it make?
nothing. I don't know. I guess we can say
Dong.
I don't know. Yo, maybe the D is silent.
Maybe the D is silent. It should have been in this nigga's name.
Yo, word, yeah,
It should have been
fucking.
hung.
Oh man. Yo,
Oh
it's all
shit.
jokes. It's all jokes. We
No,
love y'all, the UFC community. We just playing with y'all. Yo, fighters don't come and check us because we know you'll whip our ass.
nah. Fuck y'all, nigga. I will shoot a fighter. You gonna have
Alright.
to. You gonna
Let's
have to
chill
get
out.
him
Let's
off of
chill
you.
out. But yeah, is there anything else you want to say about that before we go into the main event?
Nah, I just hope O'Malley can get his shit together. I hope give him one more tune up fight. You know, like I said, he beat wrestlers Aljamain Sterling, he beat Marlon Vera, Devolish Willie. He lost to him twice, so it's like, what do you do with this now? I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't know where to put him. They want to put him against Peter Yan. Peter Yan got the belt right now, and he beat Peter Yan their last fight, and it went to the judges. So it went to the third round. On the scorecard, some people had it going to Peter Yan. Peter Yan's now the champion. So just like that, O'Malley can squeeze into the spot to fight for the belt again, just because of his name and because he beat the champion once. You know what I'm saying? And the champion asked for it. The champion was like, "I want him." You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So just like that,
And
but I don't know if he's ready for that. He lost twice to a wrestler, and when he beat Peter Yan, like I said, it was a little iffy. It went to the judges, so I don't know if he's ready to fight Peter Yan at championship status. If
it
he
can
is,
happen. It can happen in a couple of months, and why not Paramount do it, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, let's do it.
hey,
You
we're
know,
just here to
like,
throw on good fights now. We don't give a
yeah,
fuck about records. We don't give a fuck about pay per view. We here to throw on good fights. That's it. They already
that's it.
signed the contract. 7.7 billion for 7 years. We paid already.
8.8.
Oh
Is
shit.
it 7.7?
I thought it was
I
seven
thought
point seven for seven
I
years.
think no, it is 7.7 because it's 1.1 million per
This
year.
nigga
You're right. You're
adding
right. You're right.
1.1s on and shit. Like
Well,
they
I'm
don't
pretty
need more
sure.
money.
I'm
They
pretty
don't.
sure
They need to
Dana.
give us some of that money.
Yeah, but Dana's gonna take all that money. Now, in my
I
opinion,
think he'll
this
pay
was
people. I think he pays people. A lot of fighters have been coming out and talking. Look, Daniel Cormier have said it before. Dana gives checks to the side for no reason after good fights and after good sell. Like he'll take care of those people that got him those numbers. And it may not be documented. Oh, I made 10 million this fight, but DC has said it. DC has said it publicly. Daniel Cormier, he said like, yo, when I fought John Jones, the I think it was the first or second time, after Dana came up to me after and gave me a nice check. That wasn't part of anything else. That wasn't part of. He just thanked me and gave me a nice check. A lot of fighters have said that Dana does that. So do your job as a fighter. Speaking of do your job, before you get into the main event, did you see what happened? I don't mean to laugh. Did you see what happened when we can't play video here, right? Because they get kicked out. Yeah,
nah.
UFC will say something. They always do. So there was a fighter on the scale. There was a fighter on the scale doing weight. He was doing his weight, right? And as he walks off the scale, he passes out. Doom, hits his head on the floor, right? But what was going on right in front of him, I can't make this shit up. Ex champion Michael Bisping, who is now an announcer there, right? They're asking him about what does he think about fighters not making weight. and he's an ex-champion, and he's he's going crazy. He's going. You have no excuse not to make weight. You're an ex-fight. You're a fighter. You come in here. That's your job. That's your job. You got to get paid. This is what you get paid to do. Don't no excuse. You gotta always make weight. He said, I have no sympathy for fighters that don't make weight going off. And right behind him, the dude collapses. Right? As he was saying that, I can't make it up. I can't make it up.
Now my question of the night is: did the dude make weight?
Yeah. And he always makes
Uh,
weight. He never has a weight problem.
yeah,
He
because he
don't know
probably
why he passed
starving
out.
himself.
Yeah.
He
Yo,
starved himself, probably like wild
listen, listen,
dehydrated,
listen.
wild dehydrated.
I can understand cutting weight at times, but a lot of time there's a lot more reasons not to cut weight. It's cheating at the end of the day too. If I walk around at 200 natural weight, give more or less 10 pounds I could get 210, 190. But there's some dudes, Kamara Usman, he was fighting at 170. The dude walks around at 200, 205, cutting 30 pounds just to make weight for the fight and then trying to rehydrate the next day because you got to make weight and then you got to rehydrate and you got to rehydrate safely and properly. You can't just do the bad things because you won't have the right nutrients for the fight the very next night. It's very rigorous right there that fighters have to make weight in that span time. And that's why it's like sometimes you're rewarded. Because look, Kamaru Usman was huge for 170 because he bulk up the next day, have all that muscle, all that intimidation, all that power, right? And then you got guys that he's fighting that are natural 170 pounds that don't got all that
Yeah,
muscle, that
yeah,
don't
yeah.
cut all
They
that
just,
weight.
yeah,
It's
yeah. They
natural.
just,
Aljamain
they
Sterling.
just walking around like that. They just
Aljamain
walking around
Sterling,
like
the
that.
same thing. Aljamain Sterling, the same thing. They say Hazmat Shemaev, same thing. Weight bullies. Weight bullies. They should be fighting at higher weight classes. This is not me. This is the internet. But they say that they should be fighting at higher weight classes. What they do is they suffer, cut all that fucking weight so they can fight people that are smaller than them and can't get much bigger. You know what I'm saying? They're weight bullies. But it's times like that where you see a gentleman pass out on his face and he was
Yeah, but they're
relatively.
not. But they're not. Yeah, but they're not.
Nah, it's
They're not
legal.
gaining.
It's
They're
legal. I'm
not.
not saying it's
Yeah, but
cheating.
no, but they're not gaining 30 pounds the next day. You know what I mean? Like they are putting on.
No, they're
You know,
allowed
they
to
are.
bulk up. There's no clause how much they can bulk up. Kamara Usman comes out definitely fighting 190, 195
Yeah, but
from
there's
the.
no way. Yeah, but there's no way from the. If he's weighing in at 170 and the next day he's weighing 210,
Let me
something's
let, let me let
definitely
me
wrong
let
with
me go.
something's definitely wrong with homie's
Let me
body.
Google it. Let me go.
I could see maybe like 10 pounds, 12 pounds is reasonable because it even happens in boxing. But my nigga, if you fucking go back to hydration and you hydrating up to 40 pounds, pretty sure your body's gonna go into like fucking shock or your heart you're gonna have probably a
Yeah,
heart
yeah.
attack, dude.
Listen. You usually regains 20 pounds. So, all right, the 200 was excessive. 190 though. A UFC fighter who weighs in at 170 typically steps into the cage on fight night weighing between 180 and 190 pounds. Due to intense dehydration for the weigh-ins, fighters usually regain 15 to 20 pounds, which is roughly 10 to 15% of their body weight through rehydration and eating for the next
Yeah,
24-hour period. So they get 20 pounds though.
yeah,
That's still
yeah.
fucking pretty
No,
dramatic
no,
though.
it's a lot, but this is why, like, and I don't want to bring boxing into this because we're coming up on an hour, and I want to get into the Gagey fight. But in boxing, that sometimes these fighters have the no hydration clauses. Now, if that's
Yeah.
something that's becoming
That,
vigorous, then maybe Dana White needs to start looking into this. If it's becoming too much, where the weight is becoming too much of a discrepancy because it's not. The weights are not like what boxing is. Boxing is damn near every like 3-4 pounds. You're in a totally different division. So if it's becoming like that, you got to minimize the hydration clause. And maybe they need to do another weigh in to make sure they're under the limit. Yeah, you're allowed to hydrate, but to a certain limit. I can't fucking have you hydrating 20 pounds every fight, and you just coming in starving yourself, being all fucking anorexic prior to the
I
fight,
won't.
just
I
to make
won't.
weight.
I mean, I won't lie to you. I look. There's certain things that I kind of maybe not for the UFC because it's professional, more professional on the professional side. But hey, I think some sports should have steroids. Hey, I think
Well,
there should be.
I think this is a topic for a whole nother
No, but
discussion.
I no, no, but I'm saying like even with the UFC, I think a guy if he's gonna take the chance and medically putting himself through trauma to make weight, right? And then he knows the circumstance and what can go wrong with the rehydration. Not only that, you take a lot of time for the preparation to even rehydrate and lose weight. You take out time out of where your mental should be for the fight. So now when you rehydrate, dehydrate, when you do all that, your jaw gets weaker too. When you lose more weight, your jaw becomes glass. When fighters drop down in weight, their jaws when from heavier weights, all their jaws become glass. So now it's like if a fighter's gonna take all that just to be a weight bully, yeah, whatever happens in the ring, it might not always go his fucking way. You know what I mean? Aljamain Sterling hasn't gone his way. Not all the time. Kamaru Usman was on a run, but ultimately he ain't fighting no more. He got bad knees. You know what I mean? If he fights now, he don't. I think the last fight he had was Hamza Shemaev, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, if you're gonna be a weight bully, there's consequences to it. I think if you're gonna do anything in sports to try to elevate your game, there's always gonna be consequence to it. And I think there is an area in sports where it should be allowed to do certain things regardless of the consequences. And this is the games they play. That's why I'm sure there's fucking people that cheat and do peptides and do things that they shouldn't do because fighters get caught all the time fucking doing things after their blood work
Yeah,
that having things that they shouldn't have and they should just to
yeah.
get over on the win. Think Ryan cheated. We remember Ryan winning with a knockout. You know what I'm saying? We don't remember the cheating part. We remember the win part.
Well, I remember the
Jake
cheating part.
but Jake Paul, same thing though. He a weight bully. He makes people fucking. He had a lot of hydration clauses in a lot of his fights with his fighters. People don't mention these things because only hardcores know about it. But hydration clauses are big deals, regardless of what type of fighter. Having to go up and down in weight or having to shift where I fight from changes the whole landscape of fights. You know what I'm saying? So without further ado, let's drum roll, please. Let's talk about.
Yeah, word.
Let's give it up for let's
Which
clap
I
it up.
think was the
One for the old men. Let's go one for the old men. My man, 38 years old. 38 years old. He put it on this 31-year-old man that was coming in talking all that smack. I'll let you take the floor first. Go ahead. What did you see? What did you like? What did you didn't like? How did you see this fight? Did you see it going down this way? Go ahead.
I didn't expect it to be, in my opinion, even though it was a well fought fight, at the end of the day, when you watch it, it was still one sided. Justin Gagey, he really he has the heart of like a lion. Like he really does. For a wrestler who only boxes number one, which is wild as fuck, what I mean, fighting in the UFC, he just went in there, just wanted to throw some punches. And he always looks like he's about to like fall over and pass out. I saw a bunch of his fights, like follow him for a couple times, and he always looks like that, which is scary because that's when he's also deadly. Like, because he just doesn't stop. He just doesn't. He's gonna keep attacking. Now, like I said earlier before, like you don't have to go into the ring like that, but there is certain individuals in the UFC who are built like that, and that's how they fight. And they land punches. There was a couple of obviously incidental eye pokes. You could call that however you deem fit. Boxing is, UFC is UFC. Then have them make them wear gloves if you don't want that type of shit to happen. You know what I mean? Because you always UFC, you always got to be ready to grapple. You always got to be ready to punch. You know what I mean? And the way
But
Gagey fights, he fights almost like with open fists, like he's ready to throw a punch and grab you at the same time. Um, but yeah, he definitely went in there and did his and handled his business. He kept landing significant strikes, multiple takedowns. You know what I mean? Multiple knockdowns, and he even won on the and he even won on the takedowns. You know what I mean? Like so, he definitely outclassed Youngin, and it's good to see that. But I didn't expect it, but I knew it wasn't gonna be an easy fight. I knew if Patty would have went in there and just fought Gagey's fight, which he did, Gagey was gonna win. But Patty didn't fight the fight that he was supposed to have, was supposed to be the wrestling fight. Because then that's when I thought Gagey was gonna lose, and it didn't happen that way. And we all saw like that power definitely affected Patty. You could see from
Mhm.
the very first round, as soon as he landed that
Mhm.
first punch, Patty was like, "Oh shit,
His
I'm
eyes
in."
changed.
I'm in for a whole long fucking night, man. Like,
Listen,
yo, like,
Scousers don't get knocked out, but they get their ass whooped.
you know what I mean? Like, yo, he was looking for a Guinness now. Like, he was out there like, yo, can I get a Guinness? Like, but he went in there with and that's why I said great fighters go in there with a game plan. Gagey made sure Patty's game plan didn't work and didn't even pan out. He didn't even have time to implement it. That's what
Mhm.
great fighters do. And Gagey went in there and said, "Now I'm gonna own this fight. Now you're gonna fight my fight." And they fought his fight. And when you fight Gagey's fight, 9 times out of 10, in my opinion, I think you're probably gonna end up losing because this man has a heart of a fucking lion, bro. He just has no quit in him. I don't know what to say.
Well, shout out to Gagey. Uh, I just think I think he didn't appreciate the disrespect. I think I think for him, he was allowed to say. I think he got too vulnerable. He said things that he maybe shouldn't have said that really changed the betting line, that changed people's opinions. Hey, for the most part, when anybody says this is my last ride if I lose, it usually sways that you lose. So he that last part of it, he didn't want to be true and part of his legacy. And I think that the internet, people, I think all that got to him to a point where he switched on the switch that he switches on best. He's the highlight, just engaging. He to his credit too, he pointed out to Patty Pimlin, he was the same fighter when he fought Eddie Alvarez. He was coming up. He was a hot shot. He was full of all this steam, and Eddie Alvarez learned him. You know, and that's the same thing that just happened to Patty. God willing, Patty's gonna have a great career, but I think he needs a lot of time off. His face was super busted up. I think his ego is super bruised up as well. I hope he don't get into like a funk and start eating and put on weight because he's good for that. But
Yeah,
Justin definitely came out, and this time might be perfect for him. Unfortunately, anytime Justin has fought for the belt, he gets choked out, and he for what I enjoyed is seeing that he may not have wrestled, but he used his wrestling to his advantage by keeping Patty's head down, face down, but not letting up with the right punches. He kept hitting him in the face while he was holding his face down. It's not to break your face. It's to disturb you. It's
and
to let you
hurt you.
know I'm here. It's to be
Those,
aggressive. It's
those
to
knees to the
look for
ribs.
openings. Knees to the ribs. It's to leave any opening I see, I'm gonna exploit, and that's the Justin Gaethje that we're used to seeing. He's been a little streaky lately, but Justin Gaethje's record, strength of record, he's fought the best of the best of the best of the best of the best. Patty can't speak for that. He's fighting people at the end of their careers, and he tried to make Justin an example to that as well. And Justin was not going to have it. And I think also, if we're making predictions, episode 2 between you and I here, I think Justin fights on the White House card, and I think he fights Ilia Taporia for the belt. Obviously, he's the interim champion, so he fights Ilya. But
Yeah.
I have a feeling it goes down on the White House card, and I think he beats him. He's lost a couple time opportunities to get the belt, to getting choked out, which is hey, he lost against people that are great. Charles Oliveira, he's lost to Max Holloway, he's lost to people that are great.
Yeah.
But now that he's got the interim title for the second time or third time, I think Ilya Taporia and him is a great matchup. A lot of people, the internet's going to shoot me for that. A lot of people are saying Ilya Taporia is going to eat him, and it's not going to be a good fight because Ilya is the champion, younger fighter. Ilya Taporia is no joke. He's knocking people. He's not playing with you. But I think that's the perfect fight for Justin. I think that brings Justin outside. I think Justin likes that. Patty just lit a fire under him, talking all that smack. Scousers don't get knocked out and all this crazy stuff and all that. And Justin came in and stopped all that noise. I think the Ilya Taporia is what Justin needs, and I think it'll be an epic fight. I know it'll be an epic fight. A lot of people are gonna shoot me for that, but where does he go from here? He's the interim champion. Got to fight Ilya Taporia.
And what better way than not to just close out this segment, but what better way to end his career as finally winning the belt and him probably saying, "Now I'm really out of here when I beat him. Now I beat Taporia. Now I'm out of here.
There's no
That's
reason to
it.
defend it. That's it.
I beat Patty. I beat Taporia. Give me my check. I'm out. You know what I mean? Let me go. Let me go enjoy the rest of my life. Still a young kid, man. At the end of the day, yeah. What? He's in the mid age. He's old for the sport, but
And I
he's
don't
young
mean
at
to. And I
heart
don't
and
mean to
young for
be.
this. You know what I mean?
And I don't mean to be. And look, I can't help it. I'm gonna be a little funny. He don't need to be taking no more hits to the head. I see interviews of him. I don't know. Sometimes he's cross-eyed. Sometimes he's a little cross-eyed. Sometimes
He,
he's not.
I
You see
noticed
it too,
that.
right? It's
Yeah,
not just me. Look, I'm not trying to make fun.
I
He
noticed
don't.
that.
He
I don't
he
want to
don't.
say nothing though, but since you
He don't.
brought it up,
He don't. He don't. Justin, listen to me. Justin Gagey, listen to me. I know it's how you get paid. Get that belt from Ilya and retire, homie. You don't need no more headshots. One of them shits is gonna make your eyes stay that way. You know what I'm saying? You got. You got.
the last thing you want to do is when you know you're looking right, but you can be like, nah, I'm only
Yeah.
allowed to look left now.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, oh
He'd be like,
man,
I'm looking dead at you while he's looking that way.
oh man, that's funny as shit. Oh man, yeah, but we're
Yo,
gonna end
shout
it
out to
on that
UFC
note.
324.
No,
Hopefully,
word up,
hopefully, maybe we'll get another episode in before 325. Hopefully,
word
just to
up,
get our picks real quick. Thank y'all for tuning in.
word up,
I'm gonna pop this for you. My zero, my
word
zero
up, word
alcohol
up.
beer, alcohol free.
Salute.
Read that shit, bitches.
Yeah,
You
word. Yeah, I appreciate what you're doing. I'm doing the opposite. Salute.
know
Yo,
Yo,
everybody
good
have a
luck. I
great
hope you
day.
get your
You
car
know what
out.
I mean? UFC,
Yo,
I'm gonna figure that out. But make sure you all tune in. We're starting this new segment. It's only only episode 2. Me and G gonna get better at this. I'll make sure my knowledge is correct. G's already a mastermind. You
I
already
ain't
know
a
what it is. G
mastermind.
out of character.
We gonna get
G
fans.
out
They're
of
gonna curse
character.
me out. That guy
You
don't
know what
know
I mean?
shit about fighting.
Yeah, it's all right, man. It is what it is. But it's G out of character. It's cute. We're going to see what happens next week. There's another card coming up, so prepare for additional episodes. Make sure you check the link out, for all the merch. We got all types of different merch on the website.
Holla,
You know what I
holla.
mean? Yo, you already know what it is. Drunk Sports Talk. See y'all. Peace.
Salute.